Hey, Mitch.
Oh, hey, Ed. What are we
Hey,
doing?
I'm getting ready for our 1981 cult movie we're going to be talking about.
Oh, with the hat on there, I guess it's what, Cobra Man? Yeah.
Cobra Man? No, do you mean Condor Man? We did that last episode anyway. No,
1981. What am I thinking? You're the Well of the Souls from Raiders of the Lost Ark. We did that.
I'm not the Well of the Souls. I'm talking about 1981's Clash of the Titans. Can you see who I am now?
No, who are you?
I'm Medusa. You know Medusa. Come on.
No, not really.
Medusa,
What's
she turns people to stone.
Oh, that's not real, Ed.
It,
Come
it,
on.
it is, yeah, just by looking. Okay, okay. Have a look at me, all right?
All right, go ahead.
It does work. Let's just start the show. Hi, this is Ed Dollister,
This is Mitch Halleck.
and welcome to another exciting episode of Mitch and Ed's Excellent Adventure. If it's your first time here, thanks so much for clicking on us. If you are a regular viewer or subscriber, thanks for coming back. Mitch, before we head into the depths of ancient Greece, can you tell us a little bit about how we can find out more about the show?
Oh, Ed, it is easy as having Zeus come down in a cloud of golden dust and impregnate your mom and making you a demigod. All you have to do is hit the subscribe button below, and you too will be subscribed to Mitch and Ed's Excellent Adventure. And join us as we go on trips back into the past for movies, TV, and more right here on the mighty YouTube. Let's talk Titans, Ed.
That's right. We are talking about Clash of the Titans, a cult classic film that came out in 1981. And it's an interesting film in that it had some it was competing in a post Star Wars world, but it had one foot or a tentacle, if you like, in the old school stop motion visual effects with Ray Harryhausen. So before we start and before we talk about whether we saw it or not, I'm going to get my trusty rating the movies,
Yeah.
and let's talk. It's quite funny that it's on the same page as
Condor.
Citizen Kane. So
Oh, okay.
all right, so here we go. I'm going to take my glasses off. So, Clash of the Titans. Greek mythology is the basis of this spirited romantic adventure featuring many glorious monsters created by special effects whiz Ray Harryhausen. Square-jawed Harry Hamlin plays Perseus, who engages in assorted daring feats to save his lady love, played by Balka, from being sacrificed to the huge sea monster, the Kraken. Perseus gets the help of Pegasus, the flying horse. He valiantly battles a two-headed wolf, a giant vulture, and a woman whose stares can kill. That's it. Three
That's it.
stars.
3 stars. Wow.
So,
That's actually impressive. There's no mention of the all-star cast?
no. So they do mention Ray Harryhausen, of course,
Yeah,
which is he's the star of this film, really,
right.
because
Yeah.
Ray Harryhausen, if you don't know, if listeners don't know, or viewers who don't know, he's the stop motion king who started
Yeah.
with there's Jason and the Argonauts. I think
The
he do
Sinbad movie. Yeah.
he did Sinbad and the Eye of the Tiger. He's done so many of these amazing stop motion films, and I sort of remember I remember actually seeing Star Wars with my mum, and she loved the stop motion
Yes. Yeah.
Jedrick table, and she goes, oh, I thought it was going to be more like that. And I think back in the day, in the late 70s and early 70s, a lot of science fiction films, if they weren't space or they were fantasy, they were all stop motion. And
Right.
we've got stop motion wall to wall in this film. Did you see this film when it came out in 1981, Mitch?
I did. Let me tell you, it was a lot to go see this because Raiders of the Lost Ark was playing, and every time I got to the theater, I wanted to go see Raiders, and then Superman 2 was playing. So if I wasn't seeing Raiders, I wanted to go see Superman 2. But I managed to squeeze in one showing of Clash of the Titans. Now I knew Burgess Meredith was in it because he was from the Rocky movies and he was the Penguin on the Batman show.
Mhm.
There was a lot of talk about Sir Lawrence Olivier playing Zeus in this film, and Harry Hamlin, believe it or not, I knew this is way before LA Law. I knew him as the husband to Ursula Andress, who was from the James Bond movie Dr. No.
Yes.
She played Honey Child Ryder, but that was kind of like his claim to fame. He was just a pretty boy husband of a starlet. But yeah, I knew all about Greek mythology from, Catholic school and English classes and, history and such. So, and Ray Harryhausen, like you said, I knew from the Sinbad movies that were always on the local channels on Saturday afternoons, and you'd see the skeletons and all the other monsters that he did. And they were very cool. But there was just something really old fashioned about this movie when he saw the trailers. Because after growing up on Star Wars, this kind of looked like watching something from the 40s. And I think that I wasn't that thrilled. I was kind of bored, to be honest with you. I sat through this movie and I couldn't wait for it to end. So.
Oh, that's fair enough. I quite enjoyed it when it came out. I was 11 when it came out. It actually came out. You talk about Raiders of the Lost Ark. It opened on the same day as Raiders of the Lost Ark. So
yeah, that's tough.
Which, I mean, people didn't realize what a phenomenon Raiders Lost Ark. On a total aside, you know what was the highest grossing movie of 1981?
Clash of the Titans?
No. Not Raiders Lost Ark. Superman 2.
Wait, where you were? Not here. Raiders was
internationally, it was Superman 2, and then Raiders was re-released in 82 as well, and it added 20 or so million dollars.
I thought it was Raiders, then Superman. Then I thought it was For Your Eyes Only, actually.
It could have been. Well, look, it cost about $7 to $15 million, Clash of the Titans, and it made about $40 odd million. So it actually was just out of the top 10, but it was a success for what it was. And I think the problem with the film, if it would have come out, like, it was a big budget film at the time, it had some great actors you mentioned, as well as Maggie Smith. Burgess Meredith was not the original choice. It was actually Sir John Gielgud, but they wanted an American because they felt like it would, audiences would think it's a British film. So they got Burgess Meredith. You had that wonderful stop motion work. Ray Harryhausen. This is the first film where he had 2 other people helping him. So, which I'm surprised that he only had 3 people. There was 3 people doing all those special effects, which is quite amazing.
Yeah.
And they are very good, but they do look, I think the problem was, you're right, they do look dated by the time, like in 1981, they looked dated. They were technically very good. And there's some beautiful shots of Calabos and of the Pegasus.
Oh yeah, Calabos. Yeah,
and who can forget the Kraken? But I think the problem with the Kraken is he just looks like
the perspective is off. It's not like it's in the room. You can tell it's probably about this big. And
he does the design. I think the design of him just looks a little bit like he looks like a.
He looks like the creature of the Black Lagoon.
A little, but with a beak and everything like that. Bubo, though, the owl is really well done.
Owl's cool, and the Pegasus was fine.
Yeah,
what water never. It's not proportionate. Like fire and water are 2 things that when they do miniatures, they never look right. You know what I mean? The oceans, I mean, Godzilla movies, World War II movies, whenever they can tell they're filming it like in a big tank or a bathtub. It's just you can't get the same effect.
You can't miniaturize water, so
miniaturize waves and oceans and flames and stuff. So
I
remember when the Kraken does. He's the big reveal. He's the big. That's the big finale, the big monster, the big boss. If you were playing a video game, and when he shows up, you're like, okay. I thought the Medusa was a better sequence because you know why they didn't show it in the light. They used a lot of shadows and stuff, and you just saw her eyes and. That was done effectively. The direction. Who was the director on this?
It was Desmond Davis, and he was actually a Shakespearean director. And they sort of.
Oh, okay. You know what? Too, it's so damn serious because it's the Greek mythology and Homer and the Odyssey and all that stuff that everybody knew it from school, high school English literature. So it was like on his pedestal, like, oh, this is so revered, and it's like doing Shakespeare, and you have to. You just want like an adventure movie, I think if they had more swagger to it and played it more of a tongue-in-cheek type of thing instead of so damn serious, it might. Because that was the reason why I said it was bored. It was like being in an English history class or a English lit class because it was like here's Percy, and we all know what's going to happen. I mean, I knew the story of the Medusa. I didn't know much about the Kraken, but I knew about Pegasus from cartoons, and it's the owl. I think they threw that in there because they wanted like a cutesy R2D2
Yes.
type of thing, and like those little robots from the black hole. There was that little tongue in cheek. This could have been a Disney movie, actually. That I think about it, it felt like that.
Well,
Apart from
apart from the nudity,
well, there's
I
that.
was.
This is an MGM picture, isn't it?
It is. It is. I was a
Yeah.
bit. I watched it again. I rented it on Apple TV. I think
Yeah.
a couple of days ago, and I was a little bit shocked. I don't remember that in being.
Well, you were 11 years old.
I know. I would have remembered that. So
I remember seeing the Beastmaster a couple times, and not because Mark Singer was such a good actor, but Tanya Roberts, that's something else.
Anyway,
That's another show that we have to do one day. The
Yes.
Beastmaster. That was a
Oh
good
yeah,
one.
for sure. But they had look. So the score by Lawrence Rosenthal was great, and Lawrence Rosenthal certainly indie casters should know him from the Young Indiana Jones Chronicles,
Yeah.
where he did the score there. So they expected it to be, I don't know what it was. I think, they were trying to, obviously science fiction was huge. Once Star Wars came out, everyone was trying to find that next best thing. So
Right.
Something. And, they were doing trying to get this sword.
I was just going to say
sorcery
Excalibur. Excalibur came out that year too. And I remember seeing that. Hollywood was hoping, because they knew that Star Wars was really a lot of wizards and magic and that they were hoping that they could go back to the original source material, the King Arthur legends and Perseus and the Medusa. They were hoping that classic, copyright free.
Yeah, that's what I was
so we
going
don't
to say.
have to pay writers. We can go back and just mine all the legends and the folklore. I think that's why we saw a lot of these films that came out, because they didn't have to.
I mean, but it didn't it didn't set the world on fire. After that, we had Krull. There was a sword.
Condor Man was out that year. I mean, you can't compete.
No, who could? We certainly can't. So, so it didn't do as well. We always talk about the merchandising, because if you look around us, that's where our thing is.
There's toys on this.
There were. So there was a number of Mattel toys that they brought out. The action figures. I don't have any of them. They were hard to find in Australia. They brought out.
I remember. No, I remember seeing the Pegasus. I was going to buy that one because that was the coolest one.
Yeah, so you could get Pegasus with by itself, and there was a Pegasus with Perseus that you could get. They released Calibos, the I've forgotten the name of Tim. I think it's Tim Pickett Smith's character. His character, Calibos, and I think they also the ferryman they brought out as well.
Yes, they did. It was creepy. That part was the Sharon, you mean?
Yeah, yes.
Yeah.
I would never call Sharon creepy. What are you saying, Mitch?
No, it's with a C, buddy. It's with a C. Learn your don't pay the ferryman. Where's Brian Ferry? Was it Brian Ferry? Who played that?
Brian Ferry did not sing "Don't Pay the Ferryman."
The ferryman till he takes you to the.
It was Krista Berg.
That's exactly what I said, Krista Berg.
Okay, I'll edit that bit out.
So leave it in. Let people know that we're real.
We are. This is not.
No. Go back. I read.
Yeah.
The novelization by Alan Dean Foster.
I
had it. I remember reading all this stuff. Yeah, there was a novelization on this.
There was, and can I just say they also brought out the Kraken toy, which was quite a large.
They did.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like.
Which
is funny, because it looked like a classic toy called. Oh God!
Hang on, I know the one you mean.
The goggly. You know what I'm talking about? It was like in the 50s and early 60s. It's a classic, like remote control toy that it was like very expensive, and but
I do remember that one.
It looks like that something with a G.
Yeah,
Brian Ferry.
That's right.
Just like Brian Ferry.
So there was that. We always do our litmus test of, was it a success?
Wait, go back. Oh,
yeah.
No soundtrack albums, none of that?
I think they did release a soundtrack album of it, but they did release a lunchbox and also a thermos. So you've got that. They did.
Wow, they made it to a lunchbox. Wow.
They did. They did a board
what was
game.
Comic book adaptation?
So no, there was not a comic. Oh, there was in the UK. They did a sort of a comic book adaptation, but it wasn't through like Marvel or DC or
What was the
anything like
board
that.
game? To be honest with you, all the conventions and comic book shows and yard sales, I've never seen the Clash of the Titans board game, so I don't think it was a big deal. You know what? It's Harry Hamlin's cleft chin. It's just so manly. You just want to dive into it and swim around in it like a hot tub. I mean, whenever I see Harry Hamlin, I just go,
He
oof.
did have such a square jaw, and he
He's
was good.
hunkalicious.
He was good in the role. They also brought out they didn't do trading cards, but they did sticker sets and things like that.
Oh,
Later on, they actually did
yeah.
a sequel comic series years later. I think it was like 2006 or 2007. They brought out a comic that was like 5 years after, called Wrath of the Titans. And of course, in 2010, they brought out the 3D remake with Sam Worthington and Liam Neeson. Yes, so Aussie Sam Worthington, he was hot off
Sam
Avatar.
Worthington.
Yeah. Yes.
I saw that in the theaters. My kids, they very much enjoyed that one. I remember the 3D effects were pretty good, even though I think it was post, but they had a lot of burning embers which would float by the screen, and that kind of gave it the depth. And they had Hades in it. You had Ray Fiennes. You had the reunion of the Schindler's List cast right there in front of you. You had Oscar Schindler and the freaking Nazi, except this time they were Zeus and was it Pluto, the god of the underworld, or Hades?
Hades.
Yeah.
So
that was actually pretty good. It
wasn't too bad, and it did pay homage. They had excuse me,
they had the owl.
They had the owl, which he threw out, which was a little disrespectful. But they had the scorpion fight and a few other things, and Medusa, the Kraken. And
then there was a sequel to it,
Wrath of the Titans, which came out 2 years later, which wasn't as successful. So
wanted to do so well.
Yeah, and I think yeah.
I was just gonna name when I was a kid, Clash of the Titans, Raiders of the Lost Ark. There's a lot. There's some, I don't know. It seems so grandiose, you know. Maybe if they called it, what are they gonna call it? Percy and the Snake Lady. You know, I don't know.
Yeah. I thought Clash of the Titans. I think one of the complaints from the reviews was maybe they should have it should have either been about the gods or it should have been about Perseus and not both. So,
well, wasn't the whole plot that Zeus was going to destroy the world unless he can Perseus saves the day at the end or something like that?
It was all a bit, convoluted, but it was still fun, and it's still worth a watch today if you get a chance.
Well, go back. The best scene in that movie is when they capture the Pegasus, when they throw the rope and Burgess Meredith and Harry Hamlin are pulling on the rope and trying to ride it. You know, it's just like a guy off screen pulling the thing.
But that is integrated so well. It's very well done. So it's worth it. If you're a fan of old school cinema, certainly go. So
you froze. You're frozen.
Well, you should have seen there was a great.
Well, now we both.
There's a shot of you where I hope I've got it, because you look absolutely hilarious and your face is sort of squished in for some reason. So it's like we are, being manipulated by the late great
Medusa. And we're turning into stone right before your eyes. Yeah. Did they ever make an action figure of that? Because that was a pretty good replica of Medusa with the snake body and such.
Actually, I'll put a photo of it, because
I think Sideshow Collectibles might. I've seen over the years, the last 40 something years, I could swear I've seen someone do a Medusa.
They have, in fact. There's a guy just a little bit up the road where I've been buying some of his Star Wars toys. He's got a huge collection of all things pop culture, and he has got a section dedicated to Clash of the Titans.
Wow, there's somebody more bored than
true. And he's got some maquettes. They were probably about that big. So he's got Medusa. Yeah. He's got
the bad guy, the son,
Calabos. And he's and there's one other, and and the Kraken, I think he's got as well. So they were released.
If they made a replica of Bobo, if that's
they have. Yes,
Bobo. They have Bobo.
Isn't that some talking gorilla? I don't know, but you've just frozen, which is kind of cool because you look like you're voguing at the moment. Oh, there you go. Anyway, look, I think that might be a sign to wrap it up.
The guys telling us to wrap it up.
That's right. Otherwise, yeah, you don't want Lawrence. I do actually remember when they refer to it in Last Action Hero, where they're teaching Greek mythology in the class, and they go, most of you will remember they're teaching it, and they refer to Laurence Olivier from Clash of the Laurence Olivier, best known for Clash of the Titans and the Polaroid commercials. I think that was saying, and I'm going, oh, poor old Lawrence. That's his
that's what he's famous for.
He's remembered now.
Life, just Obi-Wan Kenobi.
That's not the actually, he was really cool. What was the one that they came out with a few years ago with oh my gosh, who was in it? There was a movie that
Rock.
No, God, my brain has frozen.
Wayne Johnson. What?
No, it had Angelina Jolie in it. It had no. And it was all digital, set in the 1940s. It was like
Sky Captain in the World
Sky
of Tomorrow.
Captain and the World of Tomorrow.
Yeah.
The bad guy in it was Laurence Olivier.
He was, but he was dead by then, and they had done CGI. Yes,
which is pretty cool. Anyway, that was a long walk for not a good payoff. So I apologize.
No, but let's do Sky Captain. I got a whole book about the making of it. I got merchandise from that. Not a lot of merchandise, but we have the little plane and everything upstairs.
And he never made another film.
No, never did. And he actually introduced that whole before Lucas, I think. No, wait a minute. No, it was after the whole idea of the green screen.
But he did that, and he did all the effects, I think, himself practically. It was like a one-man show. So anyway.
And the guy that plays the doctor in Saving Private Ryan's in that movie. He's like the little mechanic guy. He's got a weird name. I can't think of his Italian sounding name. Benito. The guy. Bobo.
It's time for your medication, Mitch. All right. Okay, let's wrap it up. Clash of the Titans is worth seeing. You can rent it. There is a Blu-ray of it available. Not that these Blu-rays are going to be available anymore, which is a sad day. But I
know what the hell's going on with that. What are we doing here? Well, why?
I don't know. Well, you can just watch us and stream us, which sounds wrong. But
get a VHS copy.
If you want to find out a little bit more about us, Mitch, what can you do?
Oh, Ed, it is simple as going to see a Medusa and making a reflection bounce off your shield so she turns herself into stone and not you. All you do is hit the subscribe button below, and you too will be going on epic adventures with me and Ed, going to the past and looking at these old movies and TV shows and all the rest. Right here on YouTube. I was going to say but I don't know what that was about.
No, that's okay. And you can watch some of the episodes of something that's popping up here right now, or you can subscribe to us from the center here. So that's it. Signing off. This is Ed Dollister.
This is Halleck.
Oh, hang on. Say that again. You froze right in the middle of it. Came off cross as Miss Halleck.
And this is Missy Halleck. This is Mitch Halleck.
And we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.